here's a little secret no one is going to tell you, and that is that Costco is your perfect store for managing the perimenopause symptoms. And it is pouring rain today. So you might be saying, why on earth is Costco the right place to shop when you have perimenopause? Well, let's get into that, because Costco has so many things to offer that we can use. And it starts, number one, with protein. Now, I know you might be like, oh, okay, she's talking about protein again. No, protein is so handy. And when you go to Costco, you will see there's an absolute ton of meat. There are a lot of different options, and I really like what they have to offer. There are also a lot of options for people who want to go meat-free, although this is not a meat-free video. But Costco has a lot of things that it can offer. There are also a ton of fruit and veggies, and I'm going to explain to you why we need all of these fruit and veggies as a perimenopausal woman, and why, if we don't have that, it actually backfires, and you might not even realize why. Let's get into what I bought today. So in order to not get food poisoning, I'm just going to show you this right away so I can get this back in the fridge. Now, this is salmon. And salmon is good for us because not only does it have a ton of protein, but it also has omega-3, which is so good for our brains, because as perimenopausal women, we are aging, and our brains, if we want to prevent dementia and we want to protect our blood vessels and, prevent heart disease, which is like, I believe, the number one cause of death for women, we want to have omega-3, which is protective, cardioprotective. I'm going to get into the protein in a second. Now, this is wild sockeye salmon, previously frozen. Now, in the past, I have frozen this, and then what I have done is canned it, and I am going to can it this time. I'm probably not going to freeze it. I'm going to just throw it in the fridge, because if I throw it in the fridge, I will can it very quickly. Unfortunately, if you know anything about my fridge, it freezes things. So I need to be careful. I need to get on it. I'm probably going to do it this afternoon. So I'm going to go throw this in the fridge. Okay, now that we're back, and I hope that I have demonstrated to you just how messy my kitchen is still from breakfast, because it's the day after Victoria Day here in Canada, which means Costco was closed, because Costco's always closed on a Sat. And it was so busy, but I wanted to get there first thing. It was so busy. So, and we have the smallest Costco in Canada. Well, definitely the smallest Costco on Vancouver Island. Another thing I bought, this is less Happy Meat. I like to buy Happy Meat, but lately with the teenagers, with all of the things, I have been buying Costco meat. That's just what it is. Like, you do you. You do what you have to do to survive. So this is chicken thighs. What I like about chicken thighs is I also will can these and use them for a delicious lunch, a delicious salad. I'm also going to put this in the fridge right now. Preparing meals without protein really, really impacts us in so many ways. Number one, in our blood sugar, and I'm going to explain that in 2 seconds here. Now, when we are eating our meals, one of my favorite books is by a really cool lady named Glucose Goddess, and I believe the book is called Glucose Revolution, and she explains and that what we need to do is make sure that we are getting protein and vegetables before we have any carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are not the enemy. They're just not super duper great for our blood sugar, especially for those of us that are aging. Now, I need to wash my hands because I was just touching that chicken and that fish. Ew. Okay, so let me show you this book. This is her second book. The first book I have on my Kindle. And what's so great is that she explains, like, number one, we need vegetables. Vegetables, why vegetables? Some people have asked me this. When we're eating vegetables, there's a ton of fiber in vegetables. There's also a ton of water. Now, that fiber stacks up in your digestive system, and it makes it, it makes it so that it just slows the absorption of carbohydrates, especially if you have your vegetables and then you eat a protein. Now, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, just eat vegan or vegetarian protein and then have your carbohydrates after that. So carbohydrates, they're not the worst thing in the world. But that is why you will see that, like, the number one thing that I have here is vegetables. Costco is so great for the vegetables that they have to offer. So let's get into the vegetables that I bought. Now, I have these 3 things of cucumbers. This is 9 cucumbers. And I have rosacea, and I have noticed that one of the triggers for my rosacea seems to be tomatoes and peppers, which makes me really sad, but I still will eat them a little bit. Now, I do buy this for my family. These are the organic grape tomatoes and peppers. Now, we already had some peppers at home, so I didn't buy more of those. Another great thing I love is this sweet kale salad. Now, one of the big things for us with perimenopause and menopause, my darlings, is that sugar is harder to manage as we get older. As our estrogen and all of the things go down, sugar is harder to manage. So this has a very sweet dressing. What I choose to do is to not use this dressing. I will use my own dressing. What you could also do is just use less of this dressing. Now, remember, when you're eating, you want to eat your veggies first, then eat your protein, and then and your fat, and then your carbohydrate. Fat is not the enemy. People have acted like fat is like the worst thing in the world. Fat is not the worst thing in the world. Sugar is not great for you. Let's just say that. So I also got this delicious one. This is the creamy dill pickle. I will eat this dressing, which probably has sugar added to it. Let's have a look. Sugar. Yes. And that's okay though, because I don't use all of it, but this is so good. When I'm eating, like if I'm having a salad, that's great. What I do is I go ahead and I just eat the veggies, and then I'll eat a bit of the protein and the fat, and then if I want to have a carbohydrate after, I will do that. Another thing I got is this lettuce. Now I will cut this up, wash it, and vacuum seal it, meaning I put it in jars, and then I attach this little vacuum sealer. I will link it below, and I will also link these books below in case you're curious. But what I do, and then that removes the air, and it makes it last so much longer. It is gardening season, and my garden is like coming to fruition, which makes me so happy, but she's just not quite there. I also got some mushrooms. I love to have mushrooms cut up in the freezer. I also have some freeze-dried that I will use. Avocado. Polyunsaturated fats are so good for us. What I love about Costco is you can buy this package. Usually there's like 6-ish in here, and usually like 1 or 2 are ready to go. And I did not know this. Did you know this? That you can put avocado in the freezer and in the fridge. So once it gets like semi-ripe, I just go ahead and throw it in the fridge. You can also chop them up, put them in the freezer. Mwah, so good. Another great source of protein that I got is tuna. Again, this is not going to be politically correct. I know some people are going to say like, listen, tuna's not good. Salmon's not good. Chicken's not good. I get it. I love you. I love you all. I love you all. You are all my little chickadees. Tuna, so handy. I will use tuna for tuna salad. One of my favorite things to do, actually, and maybe I'm going to do that today, is I will chop up the tuna and I will make, put it in a salad with this delicious yumminess. The Costco dill pickle salad. I will put it in here, and I could even use a little bit of the dressing, mix it in with the tuna, put it in the salad. All the accoutrement that goes with it is just so good. That is a high protein, high fiber, low carbohydrate snack. And then you can have your carbohydrate after. Carbohydrates are not bad. We just want to make sure we're getting the good ones. One of the good ones, I think, and from the research I've done, and believe me, the research is all over the place, but I get a lot of my data from Dr. Stacy Sims and from this awesome lady, Jessie Inchope, who is, I think she's got a PhD. She is a scientist. She's done all this stuff. Anyway, this is your steel cut oats. I love them. I chop them up. I make overnight oats. I actually make a shorter version. There's a video coming on that, or I talk about these all the time. That's a good carbohydrate because it is going to be slowly absorbed. There's vitamins in it, all of the things. This is something I buy that is not that healthy, but this is Kraft peanut butter. Why is it unhealthy? Some people have said, well, there's seed oils in it. There's soybean oil in it. The jury is out on that. There actually is not evidence that that stuff is bad for you, and I've had a lot of people make comments. I just want you to know the jury's out. What is bad is that there's sugar in this. bad. Meaning, if you choose to have this, now Costco also has, they used to have the light version, which I liked more, but still not that great for you. It had sugar in it. I love the natural peanut butter. Costco has a really yummy natural peanut butter. They also started selling Adam's peanut butter at my teeny tiny Costco. Maybe they also sell the light kind at your Costco. Things vary. This is my All brand. I use this in the morning along with my overnight oats. I just feel like it helps my digestion. I have to take iron every day because, and this is like a really good iron, my naturopath who I talked about, I love her, she recommended it. And it is a different kind of iron than you're used to. It's called Bob's iron, and it's ferrous fumarate, which is different than like your typical iron, I believe. And iron, you may know, can affect the digestive system. So that is why I stick with, like, why I put a little bit of All Brand Buds in with the Bob's Red Mill. I also take a little bit of magnesium before, and that helps so much. Okay, another thing, what am I missing? Ah, yes. One other thing I got in the protein vein is this. I've never tried this before. This is a protein drink. Now, protein powder is something I consume twice a day, and I use the diesel kind. I used to get my protein powder at Costco. I used to use the Kaizen brand, but Costco stopped carrying it. My Costco did. And again, I mentioned my Costco was just so small. And there's a Costco north of me and a Costco south of me. They have more stuff. I don't know if they have the protein powder. But they have this drink, which is a bit ridiculous to buy because it's got so much water in it. But I got this one is Munchies brand. So what I like about the ingredients, yeah, there's sugar. Okay. I actually didn't really buy this for myself, but water, milk, protein isolate, cream, sugar, milk protein concentrate. It doesn't have too much weird stuff in it. It has sucralose in it, which is stevia, and it also has, do you see how strong I am? Like my arm. Okay, 140 calories, 3.5 grams of fat, not bad, 10 grams of carbohydrate, 6 of which come from sugar, and 20 grams of protein. That is a really good ratio because we have twice the protein to the carbohydrate, meaning when you consume this, it is not likely to send you into a blood sugar spike, which is exactly what we want to avoid. And that is exactly my goal in life right now, is just to avoid a blood sugar spike. I also grabbed this one, which is cookies and cream. And they also had one that was called like fruity cereal. And that just seemed really strange to me. So I just decided not to grab that one. And I just decided I wanted to try these two. There was also chocolate. If you've tried the other kinds, tell me what you think. How is all of it? Now, I'm not perfect. I bought some treats. And yes, I will consume some of these treats. However, you see these chips here. These are really yummy. And I really like the kind that are flavored. These ones aren't, but they're good. I also put the eggs on top of them. Probably a mistake. So this is, what I will do with these is, say I eat that salad with the tuna and the dill pickle. I'll eat a bit of chips after if I really am craving some chips, because the carbohydrates aren't bad for you. I've talked about my protein shake before, where I add protein powder, milk, macadamia nuts, and blueberries. Now, this is good, but it will send you into a bit of a blood sugar spike because you're grinding up those blueberries, which makes the carbohydrate from them more available. Now, blueberries are so good for us, though. Blueberries are so good for our perimenopausal bodies because they are full of antioxidants, so good for us. They're full of protein. Like carbohydrates are not bad, but what they will do is send you into a blood sugar spike. So what I do is I will have them before I have my workout. I also bought these blueberries. Of course, I put them in the freezer because I did not want them to melt. This is the protein powder I usually use. People have asked me, it's called Diesel. I get it at a place called Popeyes. Okay, now for the fridge, one other thing I forgot was I had bought this thing of eggs from Costco. Again, more protein. Costco is such a great place to get your protein-rich foods. I just cannot stress that enough. Eggs are a vegetarian protein. No, they're not vegan. Vegans aren't going to be happy. I'm talking to my friend Maddie, who I love so much. She's just doing a good thing for the world. Okay, Sapporo Ichiban. My kids, they like it. I don't eat it. Every now and then I come along and I say I need a mom tax. That's just how I roll. I tax my children's food, and you should too. That's a way, when we go to Disneyland, if our kids want churros, we're like, great, we get some churros, and then I will say, like, I want a mom tax. Have a bite, that fixes my cravings. Like, we don't have to like be perfect, but as we're aging, once we're in our 40s, it's harder for our body to keep up with metabolizing all of that sugar. And it just goes on as fat. And I seriously had cake last week. One piece of cake. No joke. I noticed the next day in my body composition. Like, isn't that crazy? These chips, I love these chips. These are another thing. I'll have a few. Like after I have a salad, after I have dinner. Even if you're having like a bad dinner, eating dessert after that dinner is far better for your blood sugar, your blood glucose, than having it on an empty stomach or having it later. Another thing I grabbed, which our tiny Costco had, which was so good, and this is something I did snack on, is this delicious cookie. Okay, Costco now has the Costco cookie. That was a really good cookie. So what I did was I grabbed 2 for the kids and I taxed it, because that's what I do. I tax the children's food. There's a couple of things I forgot when I was shopping, and this is so common for me to forget something. At Costco, I love their turkey pepperoni. It is so good. It's super lean. Usually it's pretty tasty. I find it kind of salty, so typically I will only have like at the most 2, which really isn't that much protein. It's about 12 grams of protein. But that is just one thing that I love to have, and also something that I forgot. I also love the oils you can get at Costco. Now, a lot of people think this is a super healthy oil, this Kirkland coconut oil. This is full of saturated fat too. In fact, this has 9 grams of saturated fat per 10 grams of fat, meaning it is all saturated fat. Now, a different option would be like this avocado oil, which I also get at Costco because I love it. And I like this one. What's great is you can cook this at a high heat, and so it's got a higher smoke point, which is great compared to something like olive oil, which doesn't have like a super low smoke point. It's just not as high. This balsamic vinegar I also will use in a lot of salad dressings. Another amazing Costco thing. I am so short, just so you know. And then this is the extra virgin olive oil. Also, I get that from Costco. This is the organic kind. When I was at Costco looking at all of the veggies there, it was like first thing in the morning, as I told you. And I was holding my arms straight up, like trying to film the top of everything because I am just so darn short. Another thing I love to get that I didn't this time is quinoa from Costco. It comes in a bag, so handy, and it is a fruit, I believe, but it might not be, I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up and put it on the screen. But it doesn't have quite the carbohydrate hit of like a rice or something like that, because I will have bowls and I will put rice in, but rice actually more than anything affects my digestion in a bad way. So I'm not always likely to have rice, but I might have some quinoa or potatoes. I love to buy like a big bag of potatoes from Costco. These are the macadamia nuts that I put in my smoothie. They're so good. Now, they are primarily, they have 6 grams of saturated fat, but there's 38 grams of fat in them. So I'm not exactly sure if it's like a monounsaturated fat or a polyunsaturated fat that goes along with them, which would make them a little bit healthier for you. However, I just love them. Try them in your smoothie. You will not be sorry. And the great news is, like, when we use these things for our blood sugar to make our body just sort of be like, oh my gosh, like you're feeding me so well, then we can just feel so much healthier. We can feel so much happier. And that is what I love about it. This is here a video where I talked about intermittent fasting because I also intermittent fast, but not to the extreme that I used to, because it turns out as women, especially perimenopausal women and postmenopausal women, we need to do it differently. I hope something great happens for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.